Francesca? No chodź. Right. Hello, everybody. What is TestLib? It's a library for problem creation in Codeforces. User local include. Yeah, let's open it. testlib.h is a very long C++ file. It is what, 5,000 lines? Yeah, 6,000 lines of code, and it allows some functions like generate a random vector or a string, or also for validators, checkers. It provides a lot of helpful things when you create problems. Okay, so are we live on Codeforces? Yes. Twitch, that works. And YouTube. Oh, that's not great. What is going on? Please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Are there issues with YouTube live stream? Because I have some warning. Oh, that's not great. I don't. I also need to remember to mute. I don't see any kind of big lag or issue. I don't know. If you're watching on YouTube, let me know if everything is okay. Because I see, I just see a warning internally, like that. For now, I will ignore. Okay, this will not be very educational stream for most of people. Mainly what you can learn here is something about creating problems. And the reason why I'm doing it, because now I want to experiment in the next days with how good problems can be if just generated automatically or half automatically. Because when I teach algorithms, often I have a lot of ideas for some simple problems and some of them do not exist. Now, it's not really viable whenever I have an idea for an easy problem to create it in Polygon, to actually make a real problem out of it. But what might be better is if mostly AI uses it, I only check. But today I will be the one creating it. I just want to, for example, understand how much time I spent on different parts of problem creation. What makes sure that test results, I mean, the problem author has more time to create a problem, can create multiple solutions, including a brute force. Also, multiple people can solve it. You can never be 100% sure of the correctness, but yeah, if you do a lot of steps, then you're almost certain of the correctness. And then maybe you still have 0.1% probability that something is incorrect about the output files. Okay, it's also stuff like proving the correctness of a solution. Now, I want to create here during the stream two problems, let's say, one quite simple, one quite more complicated. Maybe second will be a graph problem, just so it would be then something where you can work for hours on stronger and stronger tests. I also want to understand later how good AI is about it. But first, I will be the one creating it. So let's create first something basic. It will be a DP problem, something about a sequence. Let's think what kind of problem we can do. Also, big thanks to Harbor Space for sponsoring the streams that I do. On Codeforces, you can find my still open registration for Olympiad classes. You can search for Olympiad classes by Harbor Space, and you can register if you want to prepare for IOI. Here's the link in YouTube chat. Right, let's see, what should be the first problem that we create? Something about DP. Let's say you're given a sequence that looks like this, where some elements are given and some are -1s, meaning that you can replace them however you want. And do we want to count or maximize, minimize? The easy version would be replace every integer, every -1 with an integer in order to, let's say, minimize the sum of values. So minimize the sum of values. And let's say that there are some conditions, right? For every, let's say for every 2 adjacent elements, one cannot be a divisor of the other. Is that okay? I think so. And for that, the solution should be that every number will be very small. Like we can alternate between 2 and 3. And then there can be an issue that something is divisible, something is a multiple of both 2 and 3 and 5. Only then in such a case, we need to use something slightly bigger. Yeah, I'm happy with this task. Actually, I think it's a reasonable task, and I'm not happy that I showed it to you during a stream, but I just now came up with it. I mean, maybe up to weeks. Yeah, it takes a lot of time to create. It also depends on the task. There are some tasks that are very easy to prepare and test. You should do a mix of both. Oh, not you don't. You shouldn't solve 100 problems related to that topic. A few. Okay, minimize this. So replace every -1 with a positive integer. Minimize the sum of values, and also output -1 if impossible. There is no upper limit for the values that we use, and here every AI is equal to -1 or it's in the range like this. Then I think the observation will be that the numbers we create are quite small. The worst that can happen is, let's say, it will be up to what, 50 or so, even if the two neighbors forbid a lot of elements. Yeah, let's use that. So this will be our P1 that I want to create. I want to measure how much time it takes me to do different parts. Now, this part was independent from the AI usage. Whatever AI problems I want to create for, let's say, for my lectures, to improve the experience for students, I will certainly understand the statement and the solution. So this part I'm not going to automate. Now I will start doing things that I would possibly automate, like problem statement. So I will also measure the time. What should be the name for this? Non-divisors. I think it's a fine name. By the way, in Polygon, I have access to hundreds of problems, including more than 100 that I created myself. But what I did is I logged into a second account so that I wouldn't spoil some problems that should still be hidden. I'm still worried about it. So whenever you see here Kamil Dybowski public, it's my second account, not the main one that I have. In the main one, I have access to a lot of past problems. Some of them still not used, possibly. Yeah, thank you. To be honest, I don't even display on the right the top contributors, because I think it's quite strange if you consider the fact that you get into the top for just proposing something that people agree with. I think that top contributors should be based on actually creating educational content and creating contests. Like the biggest topic you can do, the biggest work you can do is just create a Codeforces round, a special Division 1 round. That should beat any blog with a suggestion. Okay, so let's create the statement, and now I want to measure the time. Maybe let's do a timer, stopwatch. Start, statement, English. I want to understand now how much time it takes to create the problem, including the statement. Let's call this non-divisors. Now, there will be no complicated story here. You are given a sequence A1, A2, and so on, with some elements, or maybe possibly with some elements where I want to say possibly replaced with a -1. That's not really proper. A sequence of this. For every -1, I want to say that -1 are wildcards. For every element equal to -1, you must replace it with a positive integer. The sequence, the new sequence, the final sequence, let's say, cannot have two adjacent elements where one is a divisor of the other. For example, and let's provide now example of a good sequence, something that doesn't have any such divisors. In particular, element 1 cannot exist unless n is equal to 1. I wonder if we should allow n equals 1. Maybe not. And let's say here another 6. No, another 81. For example, this is a good sequence. Good wasn't defined yet. So, for example, this satisfies this requirement. But and here I will say 6, I don't know, 30, 11 does not. Compute the minimum possible sum of elements in the final sequence, or print /output -1 if you cannot obtain. I think it's good to define the good sequence because I will keep referring to it. No, actually Genie works on Windows, but I don't use it on Windows. You're now looking at Linux. It's a virtual machine. I mean, Python is bad in high-level competitive programming. The final sequence. Should we first define this? We call a sequence of positive integers good if no two adjacent elements, if no element is a divisor of an adjacent element. For example, this is a good sequence, but this is not. Because here, should I say it because 6 is a divisor of 30? Also, maybe let's do it the other way around. It's not, because 6 is a divisor of 30. You're given this sequence, you must replace it. For every element equal to -1, you must replace it with a positive integer. Compute the minimum possible sum of elements in the final sequence. We want to say that it's good, or print -1 if you cannot do it. You need to obtain a good sequence. Compute the minimum possible sum of elements in the final sequence, good sequence, or print -1 if you cannot obtain a good sequence. Okay, input format. I don't remember exactly what is the wording. So let's look at a random task. I don't have test cases here. The first line of each test case. The first line of the input contains an integer n. Let's say from 2. Denoting the length of the sequence, but I don't think I need to write it. The second line contains, do we say space separated? No, just this. Contains n integers up to an. Each of them is I is equal to -1, or it's in the range like this. And you need to print one integer. How do we say that? Output a single number. Generally, do we say output instead of print? Output a single number, a single integer, or just let's say output the minimum possible sum of elements, good sequence, or -1 if impossible. This is not formal enough to be used in a Codeforces task, but it's good enough for the educational problem. Let's see what we have. Already I'm at 7 minutes. We call a sequence of positive integers good if no element is a divisor of an adjacent element. For example, this is good. I guess I can just say is good, but this is not, because 6 is a divisor of 30. You're given a sequence. For every element equal to -1, you must replace it with a positive integer. You need to obtain a good sequence. Compute the minimum possible sum of elements in the final sequence. Maybe in the good sequence, I know. Or print -1 if you cannot obtain it. The first line contains this, the size, and then the elements. Maybe let's decrease n if the allowed solution is a DP. Or not. Tricky. Yeah, let's decrease it. What solution do I want to accept? There is an observation that we only use primes, right? Or not? No, that's not true. It might make a lot of sense to use a non-prime. Actually, primes might be hard to do. Yeah, this might be fine. Okay, then let's create some tests. Maybe at this point I would write a solution. Let's polish this a little bit. For example, this is, let's say, this is good, but this is not. For example, a sequence or the sequence, this is good, but this is not. All right. Yeah, it's not perfect, but let's say good enough. Now let's do a solution. Let's make a directory. What is this? Non-divisors. And let's solve this. So that was 10 minutes already for the statement. Statement, 10 minutes. Now the main solution. In this era, does real competitive programming still exist? Yeah, sure, why not? What changed is that it's easier to cheat online. But to be honest, the online performance was never important. It was nice, but that's it. All right, for every position, if it's a -1, then there will be a lot of possibilities of what to do. If it's not -1, then I need to leave this exact value. And I will define dp of I and value x as minimum sum so far, with a of I equal to x after the change. That's what I will do. I will immediately do it as, I think, one-dimensional dp, right? No point in storing a lot. And longs are needed, dp. Now let's pretend if x is equal 0 means that we use a of I from the input. Because in the input, we might have a value up to 1 billion. If that's the case, then I don't want to have that as a dimension. Otherwise, I will rely on the fact that it's optimal to use a small value. I will replace only with small values. No point using something huge. All right, so there is this. By default, I need some kind of infinity for the DP. And if at the first position we have -1, then there are a lot of possibilities. Maybe let's pretend that before the sequence there is a huge prime. Yeah, because then it will be easiest to initialize. What is a prime that is bigger than 1 billion? 1,000,000,007. Yeah, I like it. Okay, so I will make a sequence of size n+2. I will only read the values like this, and I will say read a of I. But the values a of 0 and a of n+1 I will set to 1,000,000,007. Usually we use it as model. Here I will use it as fake value that doesn't do anything. It's called then sentinel. With that it will be easier for me to initialize the sequence and easier to print the answer. Because I will start by just having this. I also need some magical constant, right? The size, the limit for how big the values can be. For now, let's just take a guess. Later I need to prove it. Const int and m is equal. How big the values need to be? I'm guessing that they will go up to 100. That's already a lot. You cannot exclude for your left neighbor and right neighbor, how many primes, for example, they can exclude. The 2 times 3 times 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19. Yeah, that's already 10 million times 23. So more will not fit. So already with those primes can be excluded by one neighbor, and then the other will not get up to 100. Yeah, this easily is enough. So we will do dp of size m, filled with infinity meaning impossible, and dp of 0 is, well, 0, I guess. This means that for the 0th element, for the a of 0, the 0 represents, I'm leaving it like this, because it's not -1. The positive values I will use only for when I replace. So from 1 to 99, I will use for things that I replace. And now, for every element, there is the new dp. In the end, we do this. And the final answer is what? It's the dp of 0. The dp of 0 represents leaving this at the end. So I will also say minus that. As 1,000,000,007 needs to be decreased because unnecessarily I added it. Isn't it just GCD plus -1? I mean, sometimes you might be a -1 not between two consecutive real values. There can be something like a number, -1, -1, a number. And what then? How do you decide what those should be? It's hard. How to get better? Practice, obviously. Solve problems. Learn new things. Okay, and here I will just iterate all possibilities. First of all, if a of I is not, or maybe if a of I is -1, then this, else something. In this case, I iterate what to put here. For every possible value, I also need to iterate the previous state. This is the previous, this is the new. Let's call this next. And here I also iterate previous. Okay, then we need to do it this way. For every previous value, so here we will look at the dp of previous. Now, if a of I is -1, let's do it like that. I iterate next value, and I will consider transitioning like that, new dp up to next, with some cases. Now, if next equals 0 is the same, so this is allowed only if the value is not -1. If -1, then I need to replace. And if now this is a 0 and this is -1, this is not legal, then continue. Or if this is positive, and this is something in non-1, yeah, okay, that works. Now we have an actual transition, and we need to say that if they are not divisors of one another, then it's an allowed transition. So one value is this. If previous is 0, then you take a of I -1, else you take the value prev. Similarly, if next is 0, then you use that, otherwise the next value. And now if x modulo y is 0 or y modulo x is 0, this is not good. And finally, we do the transition. A new dp of next, minimize with dp of previous plus the value of y, the new element that we're adding. Compile. Okay. And some at least very simple test for two elements. If I provide 6 and 12, this should be invalid. Yeah, this is roughly infinity. And if answer is equal inf, no, not maybe let's do it this way. If answer is huge, then answer is -1. You don't want to print infinity, you want to print -1. Okay, this. If it's the other way around, then same thing should happen. But if those are two values that are not divisors of each other, this is not great. I need to go up to n+1. Yep. So now this is 20, that works. For a 6, it works. Okay. And now for something where you actually need to be smart, -1, 26, let's see, 2, 3, 4 is forbidden, 5, I would put 5 here. 5 plus 6 is 11, plus that 23, it works. This is a test where it works. If I also do a 5 here and then -1, -1, then I'm guessing we should continue here with a 4 and a 3. So +7. Yeah, 30 works. For now, let's also use this as a sample test. All right. So we did another around 10 minutes for the solution. Fine, let's add it. Is there a way? Yeah. Non-divisors, this. Add. I'm not very happy about my solution because of this constant. So this is something I would need to prove. It will be very hard to, for example, stress test. With random tests, you cannot break such a solution. So this is a dangerous thing where a proof is needed. How can I access these questions? I'm not now doing something that is public. I mean, you see what I'm doing, but that's it. Can't we put consecutive numbers? It might be not optimal for minimizing the sum. If the input is 8 and -1, then sure, you can put 7 here, but it's not optimal. It's better to put a 3. Okay, so that's the main solution. Then we need a brute force. Now, what's a brute force? I mean, exponentially, we can try all sequences with backtracking, but also we would need some limit, right? I don't really want to use the same constant in a brute force. But we also, one more thing is we can try something greedy, something where there will be no DP. Let's create a brute force. The convention in Polygon is that you put your initials at the start of the file, KD because I'm Kamil Debowski. So KD accepted is my main file, KD time limit exceeded will be the brute force. Well, we can maybe here, before I do that, clean a little bit. I can add a test. How do I add a test? Here it is. This will be the sample. In checker, I just have a single integer. Now statement in HTML. Okay, we have it. Great. I have AI tips about the statement. The minimum sum of the elements. Minimum sum of the elements. Yeah, sure. I'm okay with that. Save. Yes. Fine. And I want some explanation about the sample test. Though at this point, I think we still can modify this in the future. I mean, you don't want to spend at such early stage of the problem creation, you don't want to spend too much time on explanation for the example test because it might change. Here I will say an optimal sequence is 12, 5, 6, and then what? 4 and 3. The sum is 12 plus 5 plus 6 plus 4 plus 3 is equal to 17, 23, this 30. Okay, and we certainly need another test with the answer of -1, which is, I think, only possible when two adjacent elements are one is divisor of another. Where in the statement we use this 36 and 11. Let's use 36 and I guess 11. Here the answer will be -1. Statement in JML. Yes. I'm creating here, I wanted to create something very simple. Actually, it got, when I was coming up with a task, it got more complicated than I wanted, but I think it's fine. After I create it, we will see how AI would create it, and we will compare. Also, I will see the time. Okay, so let's say 2 minutes for samples. Maybe samples. 10 minutes statement, 10 minutes solution code, let's say 3 minutes samples with explanation. Actually, then you need to say in the first example. Okay, what else you need? Certainly you need a greedy solution that goes from left to right and for every element tries to assign the smallest possibility. That's not correct, but let's make it. Let's implement it. if an element is -1, then you want to do this, and while it's bad, you want to increase it by +1. So while I is greater than 0 and bed of the previous element and myself, or I plus 1 is still in the sequence and a of I plus 1 is not -1 and we are bad with that guy, a of I plus plus. All right, we do this. That's only for a -1. Now, if I is greater than 0 and it's bad with the previous element, that's, I think, only possible if already in the input we have two elements that are one divisor of another, then we output -1 and stop. Let's make the function, but x modulo y is 0 or y modulo x is 0. And at the end I want to print the sum. Works for the sample test. We have this, we still don't have that. So 2 minutes, this wrong solution was 2 minutes. Still there is some time to, for example, upload it. Choose wrong answer. But let's be nice about it. Let's say that 2 minutes, wrong answer, greedy. I want to change it to say wrong answer. In around, I think, 3 days, 29th. On Saturday, I think we will send out the emails. Why it's wrong? Well, the question is, why is it correct? Why do you think greedily for an element you should minimize it without thinking what will happen much later, like in 2 steps? Maybe instead you should increase this element by 1 more so that it would be easier to do something at the next index. I don't see why this would be correct. Now, we want to do the slow solution. Now, it would be great to do something that can be proven that is optimal. So I'm not going to use any constant here. What is very dangerous when creating problems, let me open the statement so new people would see what we're solving. What is very dangerous, I don't like that there is a lot of stuff here. Also, sorry about the noise because I'm guessing that you hear it too. What is very dangerous is when people copy, for example, a constant from the accepted solution into the slow solution, and because then stress testing can not catch some kind of mistake. That might lead to incorrect outputs and not realizing that something is incorrect. I'm going to here use no constant, which sometimes is hard, but I think it should be possible. Let's make the sequence. Also, on purpose, in every solution separately, I implement, reading the input. Also, I don't want to copy paste that. That's dangerous. Plus, I want to measure the time it takes me to do slow solution. Let's do this. Okay, there will be a recursive function, and what we can do is we can iterate bigger and bigger sum of values, which will be the limit. First of all, if I is greater than 0 and it's a bad situation, maybe, no, it's I is this, and a of I minus 1 is not minus 1, and a of I is not minus 1, and but of those two, then minus 1. Otherwise, there is a solution, and I'm going to find it recursively, like backtracking. For every element, I will replace it with something, and I will try bigger and bigger limits for the sum of values. Maybe it should be like BFS. Let's I don't want to make it an infinite recursion, you know, because when you see a collision, you can try to increase something, but it shouldn't go forever, DFS style. So now I'm thinking that maybe it should be BFS. Yeah, let's do it as BFS, which has the disadvantage of having big memory, but I'm fine with it. What I mean by BFS is that we will have this sequence. Quite obviously, I can replace everything with a value 2 at least, because I cannot have any value 1, assuming that n is at least 2. In order to prevent myself from having an issue later that I change this and something strange happens, let me do it this way. If assert fails, that's suspicious. Maybe it's not perfect in this solution that can get memory limit exceeded, because runtime error and memory limit exceeded are hard to distinguish, but it's okay. Actually, teaching is my full-time job, so you're looking at my full-time job now. Well, maybe not the usual day, but still. For -1 between two non-1 elements, we can place any value other than divisors of this. I disagree. It's not about divisors of GCD. Here's a counterexample. If I have 100 here and 7 and then -1 and 49, you claim that I need to look at GCD of those two values, which is 1, and you claim that here I can put anything other than divisor of GCD. That's not true. I cannot put a 2 here. No. Maybe what we should look at is LCM. I think you might want to say LCM of this and that. Sure, but I don't want to make an if for what happens in this case, because then I also need an if for what happens if there are two -1s in between. Okay, we'll do a BFS. So now I need to put information for every element whether I can change it. Now if a of I is equal -1, then a of I is 2, and change of I is true. I mean, it doesn't make sense to consider smaller values. If n is at least 2, then every element has a neighbor, and because of that, every element cannot be a 1, because that already would be a divisor of anything. Now we have a BFS. So there is a queue of every vector. Initially, I push to the queue just the a vector. And always when I see a vector, whenever I see some collision, I will consider adding to one of the elements, I will add +1, assuming that the change is equal to true. Eventually, I might get to a vector that is just good, that doesn't have any divisibility. Oh, I need a but function. Yeah, LCM. Yes, this is the way Codeforces problems are created. In particular, implementing a slow exponential solution is crazy important. It's something that you never do during a contest, but the author needs to do, even if it's very, very slow. And here it's really a stupid solution, but you need to do it to avoid the 5% chance that you make a logical mistake in your main solution, in your main logic. This should be very slow. Okay, we do this while not Q empty. Actually, Q cannot become empty. I don't see how it would become empty. Let's just grab the vector, the Q dot top, right? Q dot pop. Does this compile? I always forget the functions. Well, does pop return? No. So front. Okay, front works. So we do this. Now, maybe A is already good. OK is true. If bad of A of I plus 1, then OK is false and break. If OK is already true, then we can say that this is the good sequence. Sum is 0. Print the sum. Return 0. We should never get outside of this while loop. And here what I should do is, oh, I know what. Here, when we see a collision, I need to consider increasing one of them. If change of I, so if, or maybe, no, let's make it more automatic. For each index, I and I plus 1, if you can change it, then you consider doing that. A of j you increase by 1 for a moment, Q push A, and A of j minus minus. Like this, but you don't want to repeat states. So also let's do a set of vector of int, I don't know, visited or something, set. And here I will say this. If not visited count of A, then you do this and visited insert A. I don't need to bother, I mean, I can do this, though it's optional, visit insert A. Now the states will not be repeated. Still, time complexity is exponential. Yes, it works for the sample test. And as an experiment, let's see, maybe I will create a second test. If I increase this a little bit, just by, let's say, adding a lot of minus ones, I don't know how many I added, but let's say I want 10 elements. Does it still work? Yes, it works. 5, 10, 15. For 12 elements, still works. For 15 elements, still works. Okay, so it's not that bad. Let's here add something that is a product of few values. 16 times 9 times 25 times 7 times 9, 11 times 13. This. Well, it got slower. Actually, it got hurt a lot because now the answer by how much you need to increase things increased by a lot. So now I think that even if I remove a bunch of minus ones, still it will be bad. 5 elements, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13. 13. Yeah, it worked barely okay. 200 milliseconds. Did I compile with O2? I don't remember. Okay, it's now way faster. So let me maybe add again a few extra. -1, -1, -1, -1. Okay, this is reasonable. 300 milliseconds. By the way, accepted solution has the same answer, and the wrong solution has also the same answer. I still didn't break the greedy. Fine. So are we happy with that? We don't have any constant other than this, so I think we're good. So that was another 10 minutes. 10 minutes. time limit exceeded / memory limit exceeded brute force. The greedy was called this, and the brute force was called KD time limit exceeded. This is accepted. All right. What next? I still don't have a validator. Let's add a validator. Very important file. It checks if the input is valid. Also if it doesn't have any extra white spaces. Testlib.h validators. And let's reset the timer. I prefer to use tabs. Now I don't have test counts. No, what I start with is n. Read int from 2 up to 50,000. This is n. Read new line. We need to specify exactly that there is, for example, new line character after n. Then there is a function for that. Yeah. Read ints, n of them from. Oh, this will be tricky. You want to make them up to 1 billion, but from -1. This is the sequence A, and I think we can capture them, I hope. If we can, then also I'm going to verify that neither of them is 0. This, and then end of file. Okay, does it compile? And does it, yeah, it accepts the input test. If in the input test I made some mistake, some issue, like this element instead of -1 was 0, then when running validator on my input test, it would say condition failed. If here I put a -2, integer element this equals to -2 violates the range. Yeah, so you see that there is an issue. If I put here value bigger than billion, also that should happen. If I do another extra value, the 6th value, even though 5 are expected, then there is another issue. Yeah, expected end of line, but didn't get it. Let's Control Z back to my test. Here, valid, second test. Second test is invalid. I messed up something. I had a space here at the end. Now it's valid. All right, so I have a validator. Let's upload it. Can I upload it here? Upload, yes. Validator.cpp. Set. I see that we are already 1 hour into the stream, so it might be the case that this will be the only problem that I prepare today. And in Validator, it's also recommended to create few checks, few tests for the validator, stuff that it shouldn't accept. So I claim that this is a test where validator should say, no, this is not legal because n cannot be 1. And the way you use this, it's explained here. But you put a test, and here you put a 0 if you expect it to fail, and 1 if you expect it to succeed. A test with a 1 minus 0 is also illegal. A test with just 1, 1 is legal. So this is illegal, this is legal. What else? Maybe 1 and billion, 1. This is illegal. So a 0. Create and run tests. advantage of Polygon, the power of Polygon, is that it has a lot of nice checks where you check your own work, and because of that you're less likely to make a mistake. Arguably, validator tests are not needed in an educational problem, in just something small like what. So far we are at around 40 minutes of work. Generator. On generator, actually, you can spend really hours or tens of hours of work. Statement this. So we're creating a generator for this task. I will start just with something very straightforward. Now, one way to do it is read value n from the input, print it, I mean from the arguments, and then create the sequence. And let's say for every element in A, you get a random value in range from, let's say, 0 up to whatever is the second argument. And now if x is 0, then actually change it to -1. Then you print the sequence. That's very simple, but not good enough generator of tests. Tests created this way will be quite weak. If I now run it, n equals 5, max value is 10, then it generated a test with n equals 5 and max value is up to that much. But I'm not happy that so few times we have a -1, so I'm going to modify it. For now, I will say if random modulo 2, so with 50% probability, x is -1, else it's a random value up to the second argument. Now, if I generate something, on average, every second element will be -1. So now we have a lot of -1s. Then, already locally, we can use it to, for example, stress test. I'm going to make sure that every now and then my generator is good enough to fail between KD accepted and KD wrong answer, the greedy solution. For that, I'm not happy with n being a constant here. I'm going to say that n is actually random. Maybe, yeah, here. N is random from 2 up to that much. You never want to test with n being a fixed value, like with n equals 5, you run thousands of tests or millions of tests. Because sometimes smaller n can be easier to find a counter test with. Or maybe the issue is only for even values of n or odd values of n. So hence I prefer that instead of having a hard-coded n value. One way to now locally stress test it is like so, stress.sh. I will write a script. For every seed, increasingly, write the seed, generate the test, compare KD accepted on that test and KD wrong answer on that test. If I now run it, I messed up something. I need to choose n. Let's say n is, I don't know, 5, up to 5, and max values up to 10. Run. And now something strange happened. It seems my solution got crazy slow because I wait forever. This is the test. What? Why? And which solution is slow? This? My greedy solution for this test goes infinitely? Why? Why? If something is -1, you start with a 1. Oh, I get it. What this code did is it used with -1, it replaced this guy with a 1. then as long as needed, it increased this by +1. But so it didn't increase it even once. And then for second element, it keeps increasing forever, because no matter as you keep increasing this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's the whole time 1 is a divisor. The fix for that is just to say this, or maybe let's not do it the same way I'm doing it in the brute force. I will say if n is at least 2, then you need to start with 2, otherwise you can start with a 1. So this actually is better than what I did in the time limit exceeded solution. Let's repeat the stress test. Okay, nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 tests were okay, and the 7th one is a mistake. So this is a counter test. Apparently here you cannot start with a minimum value of this first guy. I'm guessing that greedy solution does 2, and then here it cannot use a 3, so it uses a 4. Instead, optimal here is to use 3, then 2, then 9. Of course, if we can try to improve this, for example, try to reverse the sequence, run again, and output the minimum of 2 situations. Let's actually do it. Why not? Let's see. One possibility, S1 is equals solve of A, then reverse, and run second time, output the minimum of S1, S2. Let's improve it. When creating a problem, you want to make it better and better. Long solve. Here, after printing -1, we would just stop the program. This. And return the sum. Now we passed 28 tests, and once more something got stuck. I don't understand why. Let's see. We have this test, -1, 1, 4. Oh, I see. If in the input we have a 1, that's also a fail and game over for this solution. Good point. Okay, then I will improve it even more. Because I want this to be wrong answer, but quite strong. I want it to be something that a participant reasonably does during the contest. Also, they fix some stuff, and I still don't want this to pass my tests. So, though perfectly, what you can do is you can now copy this code, make another, and upload both into Polygon, make sure that both get wrong answer. But I think it's good enough if I now keep improving this guy. If n is at least 2 and any element is 1, then it's a game over. Let's do it here. If x is equal -1 and n is at least 2, sorry, if x is 1 and n is at least 2, and also print -1. You see, and now with my fixes, we passed 130 random tests. Be aware that if it ran through 1,000 tests, it still would not mean much, because it's hard to create strong tests here. I would feel confident after maybe running it for 100,000 tests. By the way, yeah, regarding the validator tests, the equal is some special thing in Polygon. So it would be tricky to create a test with such input. Maybe not that clear. Roughly, I know the difficulty. What I'm creating here, what I'm working on right now, is what, division 1A, maybe B. It would be very easy division 1B, but that's it. I don't know exactly. It's obvious for me that it's not division 1C, because I would know how to solve it in seconds. But also it's not below division 1A. Yeah, I answered that before. It's just more complicated. You run DFS and so on. It's, yeah. I mean, 4 is divisible by 1. The issue with that test, -1, 1, 4, is before I see this, already my program is stuck here. It tries to raise -1, it tries to keep increasing. Actually, also consider this. For this test, my program a moment ago still was infinite loop, -1, 1. Even though it's not clear why it would be bad. Actually, what my main program says for this? -1. Okay, good. How does it know it? Oh, my main program is DP, of course. Yeah. And you see, that's good, because any greedy main solution, you could miss this information, but the DP just considers all the possibilities. Okay, another thing I want to stress test is my main solution against the time limit exceeded solution. We got stuck on this test. What is the test? 1 minus 1 minus 1. I'm guessing that the slow solution went forever. Yeah. So in the slow solution, this is not enough to check that the answer is -1. If a of I equals 1 and n is at least 2, then also. Okay. Run stress testing. Now it passed 500 tests, and again, as I told you, it, I would say, means nothing. There can still be a lot wrong with my main solution. I'm not testing that much. Let's now increase the possible value of n to maybe 8, and let's run again. Let's make sure that my generator is run with O2, so I'm using a different button to compile. This is with O2, and this is with O2. And then this will be faster. Yeah, it actually runs faster. If you compile without O2, then the program is slower. Isn't this problem going to be, I mean, sure, if the input format is different, then my programs are invalid, but I'm not using test cases. Your wrong answer and time limit exceeded are your first experience in CP. I mean, not just for you, for a lot of people. And yeah, of course, if you have something incorrect, then it's normal to keep improving and improving. But that's the advantage of problem author. They have a lot of time, and they can compare multiple programs against each other. Yes, massive scam indeed, sorry. Okay, so let this run. And now, while this runs, I want to maybe upload some files. We now spent 13 minutes on stuff. Let me write it down. 13 minutes, that's generator, solution fixes, and stress testing. And this is stupid random generator. It's that. Let's say, yeah, 13 minutes is fine. I'm going to now solution files. I don't remember how much I modified in them, but that's the disadvantage of working with Polygon like I do right now, is that now the versions in the Polygon and in my system locally, they are now different files. Wrong answer test. And finally, time limit exceeded test. Did I save? Saving. It's stuck. Mainly, I'm just showing you how to use Polygon. But yeah, I'm going to eventually use this problem in some dynamic programming problem set. Now let's also upload this thing. I mean, there are a lot of materials online to learn data structures and algorithms. I don't know what to recommend you. You can output numbers divisible by 100 and the last number. What? Do you mean that in my stress testing here? I think it goes slow enough though that the outputting of a number isn't significant. Then the files, and I want to add the generator that I have. In a moment I want to improve that generator because I'm not using the newest style of testlib. The way I get things from arguments isn't perfect. Oh, that's not this generator, it's this thing. You normally type something different here. But we have the generator, it's uploading. What does Polygon do? It creates Codeforces problems, not only Codeforces. Now in the tests, I want to create few. Let's say test with n up to 2 and values up to 10, n equals 3 and values up to 10, n equals up to, let's say, 4 and small values, maybe huge values, very small values, huge values. I just want to create a variety of small tests. I think that's reasonable. And then really increasing tests. 25. Eventually I want to get 50,000 with small data and with big data. I think I can create a variable here, right? Something like m's equal 1 billion. And this is just $M, I hope. Those tests will not be perfect. So I'm doing something wrong. Is that, do I put curly brackets here? I don't remember. I need to use examples. Oh, it's very complicated. Assign. Assign m equals 1 billion. And then you use them like that. Okay, save. I'm using it without extension. What do you want? Yeah, when you create a generator that you can run using parameters, then what's going on? Then you can here put what kind of commands you want to be run. Oh, I thought that I added generator. Maybe not. Adding. How do you come up with problem ideas? I don't know. I mean, it can be inspiration from real life, or it can be just thinking about some topic, like a sequence, what can happen. There can be interaction between adjacent elements. and you can just adjust it. Of course, it helps me to have big experience. I solved several thousand problems. I created few hundred problems. So I have a lot of experience. Yeah, it works. You can preview tests. So let's see, what did I do? Also, I'm guessing in a moment we will say that in that generator n should be exactly equal to the argument. Actually, I want to have flexibility about that. And here we passed almost 200,000 tests. What would be better now is, I think, to run that in parallel, because I have multiple cores in my CPU. I would want to run millions of tests. But something even stronger would be to try to create a stronger generator. Now, this one is very, very simple. It's basic. Now, by the way, we spent 20 minutes. Oh, but it still computes this, right? So let's maybe say that it's 10 minutes for stupid random generator, stress testing, stuff like that. Maybe 3 minutes for, or maybe 5 minutes, fixes. Files upload. I'm just estimating how much time it takes to do different parts. Yeah, there is a neighbor drilling. Yeah, I also hope you can reach that level. That will be great. I don't think there is a guide to that. If you cannot read the problem and understand it, then I think you need to take a step back and solve, let's say, math problems on the level of high school. Piyush, do you want a ban? I saw your question multiple times and it doesn't seem to be related to the stream. So stop. Do not repeat in the chat. You're spamming. I wonder what happened here. Tests, preview. Okay. So what do we have? A lot of -1s, which is not perfect. We got time limit exceeded. So maybe the constant is too big. I guess what I can do is increase the time limit from 1 second to 5 seconds. Another thing I want to do now is change this generator to the proper style, testlib.h generators. That's the old style. How do you now do it? There is a nice new way to capture n from the arguments, but I don't see it. Well, another time. What I'm going to do here now is just say simply n becomes that. All right, I will now overwrite files. And again, it's not great that we need to modify something locally and then remember to upload. Save. I mean, I don't think that Gemini is good at competitive programming. It seems that ChatGPT is the best at problem solving, and Claude might be the best for coding. I don't know. I don't think it's... I think this stream might be very boring for a huge number of people, like a big percentage of people, I mean. In particular, I'm not trying to do it as a tutorial. I don't know if maybe multiple years ago I did a tutorial on Polygon, but this is not it. I'm not explaining to you what I'm doing. I'm just mostly first, I didn't use Polygon in a long time, so I'm remembering how to do it. Second, I'm measuring different parts of how much things take. 3, 4, 5, okay, good. Also, let's create stress testing. Add stress test. Gen, n, let's say n is from 2 up to 10. Max is, I don't know, from 1 up to 20. Time limit this. I want it to run for 2 minutes. I don't care, I don't care. Let it stress test everything. No, just accept it with time limit exceeded. Save. This will for 2 minutes run the two solutions against each other, with n value being chosen randomly from range 2 up to 10, and the max element value being chosen from 1 up to 20. Still, it doesn't check much. In particular, this constant of mine, for random tests, it will never be useful. Also in now tests, preview tests. Now we don't have time limit exceeded. I want to now run all the tests on all solutions. Run everything on everything, run. View. And keep refreshing. F5, F5, F5. Well, there are a lot of resources for self-learning. Like solve problems from Codeforces.com. You can also read Competitive Programmer's Handbook. Competitive Programmer's Handbook, this thing. There are books, there are videos, a lot of things. I think that for Codeforces you are required to use Polygon, and for other competitions you can, but still Polygon is superior to everything else. I used plenty of different tools for problem creation, and nothing comes close to Polygon. Polygon is really great. The disadvantage is that you separately work on files locally and you need to re-upload them here. But also I'm going this week to test different tools. Interesting. You see, for second last test, we got, oh, because there is -1, I see. Only for the last test, the time limit exceeded got memory. Ran out of memory. Also, our accepted submission goes, it takes too much time. It might be a good time now to write down the proof of correctness, and I'm going to now spend time on it. Okay, so we took 27 minutes. I will say, so this was what, 13:20, another 5 minutes. Test, how to call it, test script, comma, Polygon stress test and invocation. Did stress test find anything? Where is it? Stresses. No, it's okay. Okay, so for 2 minutes it ran the two solutions against each other and they were okay. Now what? Yeah, I want to write the part of editorial that includes the proof of correctness. I want to specify in the DP how big the elements might be. So let's measure that time. Back to main form. This is a place here where you can type tutorial. Also, you could do it locally, but I want to claim something like this, lemma. It's enough to use or consider, or maybe the -1 values should be replaced with values up to, and here I want to put a constant. What's the proof? In an let's look at a of I equal to -1, and Maybe let's focus on. Let's say that a of I is equal to -1 for some I. Now this can be element at the beginning or at the end, but the worst case scenario is that both neighbors will exist. Even if the worst case scenario is that both neighbors exist, I mean, okay. The worst case scenario is that I is in range 1 and n-1, which means that both neighbors exist. By neighbors, I mean adjacent elements. In an optimal solution, in some optimal solution, they have some values, a of I-1 and a of I+1, not necessarily given in the input. Possibly given in the input, so maybe either given in the input or obtained by replacing -1. And now, okay, maybe lemma 1, we won't use a value greater than this. Let's say proof to do. Lemma 2 is the -1 values should be replaced with values up to something small, maybe 50, but we will figure it out. And now I'm proving the lemma number 2, assuming that lemma number 1 already is true. So from lemma 1, I know that those two. So now, given fixed this, a of I needs to be the smallest non-divisor of LCM of those two, or let's say those, for two values x, y up to this. Because in an optimal solution I have some two neighbors, the previous element, the next element. Let's call them x and y. Now a of I needs to be smallest. Okay, this is not valid because I can be a multiple. A of I, so in order to minimize the sum, a of I needs to be the smallest value that doesn't collide with a of I -1 and a of I+1. We need to also mention that those might be equal to 1, and that's some issue. But now I want to prove that it's not good for AI to be bigger than 50. Let's see what we have so now. But it's clear that this proof will not be trivial. Some tools for problem creation. Polygon. What do you mean? Am I not talking out loud? If you explain your thought process and steps, it would get 10 times more interesting. I mean, it's okay if you claim that the live stream is boring, but what do you mean I'm not explaining my thought process? I thought that I'm talking all the time. Other than myself? I don't know. I don't know. But usually high-rated people have good problems. So I usually expect that if, let's say, my high-rated friends from Poland create a round, I usually like it. Okay, I don't want the statement. I want tutorial in HTML. So there is no proof for this right now. Lemma 2, the -1 values should be replaced with values up to 50. And to do here means that I need to fix the actual value. Proof. Let's say that some value is -1 for some I. The worst case scenario is that I is in this range, which means that both neighbors exist. And now it's a simplification, but what I mean is if I is 0 or n-1, one neighbor doesn't exist, which makes AI, like, it's easier to make AI equal to something. In an optimal solution, they have some values. Well, they have some values. There are some values, either given in the input or obtained by replacing -1. In order to minimize the sum of everything, I will maybe say the total sum, the element AI needs to be the smallest value that doesn't collide with those two. Okay. Let's say that those two neighbors are values maybe x and y. Either given in the input or obtained by replacing this, and here I will add x, y up to 10 to 9th. In order to minimize the total sum, the value AI needs to be the smallest value that doesn't collide with x and y. We need to prove that there exists such a good non-colliding value up to, let's say, 50. Unless there is no value, we need to prove that if there exists a good non-colliding value of AI, then also there exists one one up to 50. If x or y are equal to exactly 1, then it's impossible anyway. Okay, so there is this, and now we need to claim that well, what if x is equal to 2? Then that will forbid all the even values. Yeah, it's tricky. And then maybe I will not finish that. Multiple cases. So maybe to do. What if write about x equals 1, x equals 2 possibility separately. Assume that x and y are big and focus on divisors. And then, so we need to do this, but then assuming that x and y are big and they forbid some divisors, then I guess I can list, I think we need to focus on LCM of values up to that much. In Wolfram Alpha, can I ask it for LCM of 2, 3, 4, and so on? Because I think that will be very important. Yeah, I can. Okay, good. Let's write some other values. Because I think that what's important is that we can forbid some value by being a multiple of it. And your left neighbor is limited by 1 billion. Your right neighbor is limited by 1 billion. So in total, the LCM of those two is limited by 10 to the power 18. Is LCM too stupid to compute this LCM? Let me look at the chat. Can you explain how you suddenly wrote the lemma? What do you mean suddenly wrote the lemma? I'm trying to prove it. I mean, it's about the correctness of my main solution. No, I didn't see this problem before. but the main DP solution relies on the fact that we need to use small values. So it's natural that the problem is solvable basically if this lemma is solvable. I mean, the value 50 I guessed. This is why it's to do. But the whole time I'm relying on the fact that only small values will be used. I think that your message comes quickly. It's just that I from time to time go through the chat. Right now I'm going through messages from 6 minutes ago. Like sometimes I just work here and then I don't spend time looking at the chat too much. And what did I tell you? What was your previous message? Oh, I mean, you asked, so you asked how to read and understand the problem. Well, I have no idea what possibly could be the answer to that. And I stand by what I said, which is if Codeforces problems are hard for you to read, you need to take a step back and do something easier, like the math problems from high school. I stand by that. I think it makes sense. I have no idea what else could be done. You mean for problem setting? I don't remember his style of problems. Oh no. If you mean the delay, then it's just that from time to time I go through the chat. Yeah. We need to prove that. Yeah. Thank you. I'm, let's say, for fun. Certainly not for a round. Yeah, I guess. The default is 250 megabytes. Okay, let's write a program for that. lcm.cpp. X times I divided by GCD of X and I. If X, actually maybe int 128 would be good. This, if X is greater than 1 billion, 10 to 18, then break, and we want to write I. GCD doesn't exist? No. Okay, long, maybe unsigned long. Oh, I know, a different order of operations. Divide, then multiply. So that's the formula for LCM. And let's hope it works. No, what did I do? Oh, I need to cast. What else do you want? Unsigned. $43. Oh, that's a lot. And in order to verify it, we can also do this Python. Now up to 43, what numbers do we have? We have 2 at power 5 times, we have 3 at power something, which is 27. We have 5 squared, we have 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 29, 31, 33, 35, 37, 39, 41, 43. if divided by that much, then what do we get? That much. Okay. So yeah, we need it. So I claim so that the product of this is equal to that much, which is greater than 10 to the power 18. So two values up to that much have, well, LCM of xy is limited by this much, and such a value cannot forbid all divisors up to 43. So I claim that the minus 1 values should be replaced with values up to 43. In particular, 43 will always be good. Yeah. Fine. Save. But because of that, it seems that our main program, I can decrease this to 50, right? Let's do that. 50 to make it twice faster. Actually, let's, to make sure it's the same, I will do it like that. But also I need to either increase time limit more or maybe just decrease n. Let's decrease n because it takes too much time, right? 50,000 times 50, that's already 2 million. Yeah, it's a lot. Let's decrease n a little bit. So I'm going to now say n is up to 30,000. Sounds good. Save. And then in validator, you want elements up to 30,000. Files, validator, this, save. The bits includes a lot of things. Still saving? No, saved. Okay, in tests, I want to decrease that to 30,000. And those tests I can decrease a little bit too. Save, yes. Tests, preview. Make sure that still all the tests seem okay. And in the background, run everything on everything. I will remove the old one. This is -1 because there is an element 1, or why? Oh, because there are two neighbors, right. Generally, it doesn't make sense to create too many tests with small values, because often there will be a collision. Let's keep that in mind. All right, invocation, view. This is, now I get a runtime of 600 milliseconds, which should be okay. With that, I will leave a reasonable 4 seconds, let's say, time limit. For the solutions, this one, oh, it's not correct. No, it's memory limit exceeded or time limit exceeded. Let's generally mark it as incorrect. because I don't see here an option. Here you are marking things so that Polygon would warn you if your solution doesn't get an expected verdict. Oh, there is one. Time limit exceeded or memory limit exceeded. Great. Now, if I rejudge this invocation, it shouldn't be red. Red means a warning. Lemma 2 makes sense now to me. I mean, otherwise, to be honest, I don't know how to solve this task. What defines a good problem? Simple or natural statement and a solution that isn't obvious to me in 5 seconds. And then maybe not a lot of code. Good ratio of how difficult the coming up with a solution is versus the implementation. I think I once got half a minute when I practiced Rubik's Cube. Okay, so we are at 20 minutes more. Where am I here? 20 minutes. Writing down proof of constant. And that's not even finished. Okay. Then what we would do next is create a better test generation, which I think I'm now lazy to do. Already, that's amazing. We're already at 2 hours. I expected that such a problem I can prepare in 1 hour, but no. It still requires a lot of work because we only have random tests. That's very, very weak. In particular, you couldn't use the problem in this version in Codeforces. It's so far away from being properly prepared. Okay. Now, let's maybe start testing AI. Okay, I have the statement, right? That this statement, how do I want to provide it? Maybe statement in PDF. Okay, there is a task. Let's download this. I'm here in divisors, statement. Now, let's make a new directory for AI. Move the statement here. Claude. And first, let's talk about the solution. How to solve the competitive programming problem in statement.pdf. Just tell me a solution, no code needed. Okay, then in the background, I'm also going to ask ChatGPT the same thing, but I need to get the PDF. Let's run the time. I think I want to now commit the changes. This is a lot of stuff. Statement, solutions, random tests. Commit. Polygon has some weak control version system. It's not perfect. It's not, as good as GitHub. Okay, now outside of this system, I should have access. So now just on Windows, I'm going to also log in, download the PDF. While I do that, I will here open the statement. if you want to look at it. Non-divisors, statement in PDF. Okay, download. Where is ChatGPT here? How to solve this competitive programming problem. Actually, let me copy from what I told Claude. Just tell me a solution. No code needed. All right. So Claude is still thinking. Got the statement. Let me sanity check my approach with a quick brute force before writing it up. So you see, that's the thing with Claude, is that you tell it to solve something and only tell you the solution, and it tries to do more, which is, I mean, on one hand, it's good that it does it. On the other, I would actually here prefer that it tells me what it thinks without checking with some code. But actually, it implemented here a solution, a brute force, and I think it wants to stress test them, which takes a lot of time. The ChatGPT already claims this. I reduced the problem to a small state DP. The key is that although fixed values can be up to 1 billion, an optimal replacement for -1 never needs to be large. I don't yet know what Claude thinks. I mean, obviously the difficulty is very relative. And you know, I will rarely think that an easy problem is beautiful or nice, though I'm able of comprehending that. For easy problems, I also have some heuristics about which ones are nice. I see. No, that wasn't intended. Okay, Claude tells me something. ChatGPT still thinks. Actually, ChatGPT is computing the maximum DP bound, which is smart. I claim it's 43. So you should consider values up to 43, plus minus a little bit. Also, I would need to use knapsack to check if actually with 2 values up to 1 billion, you can hit all the things up to 42. Yeah, I guess the LCM is a simplification. We might create a stronger bound. Interesting. Anyway, the value 1 is fatal. 1 divides everything. Is that proper grammar? 1 divides everything. Okay. Since this, every position has a neighbor, so answer is -1. Then answer is -1 only for fixed conflicts. I agree. Runs of blanks are independent. Sure, you can do that optimization, that a block of -1s is independent from another block. Optimal field values are tiny. Interior positions of a run touch only other 3 positions, like 2, 3, 2, and so on. That always works. For a position adjacent to a fixed 1 billion, you look at primes. Every number has at most 9 distinct primes. So if we exclude this, it proved the bound of 73. But the thing is that we don't need to only think about primes. Right? If you have just a product of primes, then you can easily put a value 4 somewhere. Note that composites matter, exactly. Yeah. Algorithm for each maximal run of blanks at positions with neighbors. You do this. Time complexity that. Should be fine for 4 seconds. There is some speed up here. I don't want to care about it. Okay, implement a CPP code in cloud.cpp. What did and that was for 4 minutes. ChatGPT after 3 minutes got this. It proved 67. Consider the first 19 primes. I think it got the same bound, right? Yeah, I mean 73 is just the next prime, I guess, after 67. Is 71 prime? No, it's not. It is, right? Yes, so actually it's different. Blah, blah. And then there is a DP and this. That's about that many simple transitions. Use that. Okay. So now, okay, implement the solution in C++. Actually, I thought that this problem would be much easier for AI to do. I expected an answer in maybe up to 1 minute. Maybe I underestimated the difficulty of this problem. Okay, so ChatGPT is giving me something. That's quite a long code. Maybe because it splits into different ranges of -1s. So there is this, and Claude is still thinking. Problems should have an associated color too based on community appreciation. You know what I change? So sometimes I wonder if we can find it. In some contests or editorials, the author later allows voting. I wonder if we can find it here. I don't see it. What about editorial, tutorial, editorial? No, there is no voting, no voting. Well, there are here rating the contest. But sometimes the author will create a voting system where on every problem you can put a thumbs up or down, whether it's nice or not. And that's some indication. Generally, yeah, Codeforces doesn't have a good system about it. Also, it's not great for just upsolving because, you know, you grab a problem, let's say this one, then you want to read the discussion about it. But what you can do is you can go to announcement and tutorial, and in both, at some places there will be comments about that problem. Also in the editorial, yeah, there is an editorial for it. There is solution here. Oh, you can read the problem. That's what I was talking about. In some editorials they do it. So here, half the people say amazing, half the people say terrible, almost nothing in between. So very polarizing task. Versus this one, amazing according to majority of people. But another issue with this is that I don't trust people. For many, they don't like a problem if they struggled with it. Well, actually, it also happens to me that I hate a problem because I just struggled so much. But especially when I cannot come up with a solution. I don't even start coding, but I cannot come up with a solution, and it turns out quite simple. I actually like the problem, but I think not everybody has that approach. But so voting for every problem, that would be nice, but what is, I think, more important is that there should be separate discussion for every problem. I don't like that under the tutorial for the contest, there is discussion for everything. I think that that should be rebuilt in Codeforces. For a problem, the tutorial should be for this problem, not for the contest. When I click here tutorial, I should be given tutorial for this problem and the discussion about this problem. generally, I don't think that blogs like, let's say, this one should exist. If you want to provide feedback for the full contest, there is already contest announcement. Versus when you want to talk about some particular problem, just put it under the problem. Small exceptions are maybe, you know, there is easy and hard version of the same task. That's worse. But my suggestion is that I don't see almost any reason to say that tutorial should be one big blog for 6 different problems and then discussion about 6 problems. I agree, he's not stupid. Yeah, sure. Solutions were obvious, but the implementations were so long. That's something specific to this contest. I don't know. I didn't look at it. You know, my heuristic to choose for choosing contests to participate in is mainly to look at the rating of people. So I'm guessing that among those contests, the best one is this thing, the 1111 Division 2 round. Is it Division 1-2? There's this. So I'm guessing that this is a reasonable thing. I wonder if actually it got a lot of likes. Plus 500, plus 100. Well, it wasn't bad. And you can rate the problem. Good, 180. Good, majority of people, good. My heuristic works great. Most people like the tasks. So I'm guessing that this round was one of the better ones. Yes, I did hear about it. So it's a problem sheet with easy problems, plus there are some paid courses next to it, right? Yeah. Doug wanted to go out of the room. I'm aware of that problem sheet. I never tried it. That's possible. You know, when you expect a good quality contest but you struggle, maybe then you think, oh, that's issue with me, versus if it's created by somebody low rated, then it's an issue with them. Right, let's see what the AIs did. It took 2 minutes for Claude. It already did stress testing against brute force, which means in particular that a lot of things it could do at the same time. Implementation, verification, both samples, 700 random small cases versus exhaustive brute force, but maybe save the brute force in Claude brute.cpp. I hope that it doesn't need to redo it from scratch. Also, I wonder what's the brute force? Did it use recursion? And you see, it already did better tests than I did. Blanks alternating with 9 prime factor numbers, blanks in runs of 6, and so on. That's already more than I did, and it did that in few minutes. So that's, I think, the power of using AI to create problems. If you don't want to spend 10 hours on it, Claude can do a lot. I think that it's very important what exactly should be the input to Claude, what should be the prompt. Because I think with proper prompt, you can let it work for half an hour, but then it will produce so much stuff, so much more than I could do in half an hour. And we would already get all the, you know, plenty of solutions, styles of tests. But then I also don't know how much a human needs to verify afterwards. as I said possibly today, I want to use it to generate problems for my lectures. Like I have a lecture on dynamic programming. I can quickly provide a problem set with 10 new problems that I talk about. I think it's still relevant. I'm not aware of companies not using algorithms anymore to judge the interviewees. You know, Python is not supported in non-trivial tasks in Codeforces. It's just hard to do it. Why did it take 2 minutes? Oh, no, yeah, it took 2 minutes, cooked for 2 minutes, sorry, it cooked for 2 minutes, to write brute force if it already had that before. So it seems like a huge waste of time. When you said, when implementing cloud.cpp, you said that you tested against a brute force. Did you then remove that file? Why did it now take you a lot of time to save brute force to a file? Oh, Python is often more than 2 times slower than C++. Also, let's see the ChatGPT. And do I have the time? That was 3 minutes, and that was almost immediate. Okay. Possible replacement values, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Oh, it saved the compatibility, smart. So that's some optimization. Well, by the way, I was aware from the very beginning that we can speed up the intended solution a lot. For example, the big value only is needed when you are between 2 huge existing values. That part doesn't require DP. You can do it separately. Never you will, for 2 consecutive -1s, you will make both of them big. Always like one of them is limited by 1 huge value, the other by the other. Also, you don't need DP for that. You can just use some for loops. So I think that n can be really up to a few 100,000 and it still can be solved just with more ifs, with more work. Okay, let's grab. So this is the ChatGPT code, and nothing was removed. The brute forces I tested against were Python. Interesting. And I told it to do brute force in CPP. Wow, it also did a Python version of the DP. So when I asked for a solution without C++ code, it did something in Python. Interesting. Maybe because Python is simpler, so for AI to create some program to, for example, verify stuff, it's better to do Python. For me, it's better to do C++, but yeah, it makes sense that for AI, Python is better. Okay, good point. And you see, that's some knowledge. I had no idea that this could happen. And the point of this stream is to learn new things also about AI and how then I can use it for problem creation. And then it had some Python script for stress testing. Reference DP. They went to the scratchpad rather than the project directory because my environment instructions say to keep temporary files out of your working tree. Sure. That's arguably the wrong default for competitive programming, where the brute force is a real artifact you want next to the solution. I should have offered it up front rather than waiting to be asked. And for the time just now, this wasn't a copy. The Python brute is a flat product over all value combinations, which is far too slow. the C++ version is different. A pruned DFS with a configurable cap. So it was fresh write plus compile. Okay, makes sense. Okay, got it. I'm interested usage. So for ChatGPT, I used now 5% of the session. Okay, and another thing is write an editorial with bound proof in editorial.this and compile to editorial.pdf. That's something that I'm sure that AI is so much faster than a human. It took me, didn't it take me 20 minutes to let me see. For 20 minutes, it took me 20 minutes to write down like half of the proof. Still a lot of issues were remaining. AI also can fail, by the way, that's obvious, but it's just so much faster. It will fail fast. Okay, and I want to go to solutions, add files, AI, there is Claude.cpp. I should have added both at the same time. I guess that makes sense too. But I wonder if, knowing that I'm suggesting the problem, it will try to glaze them. Oh yeah, it's such a great problem. You are the best problem author. You think so? I would be surprised, but maybe you're right. Thank you, Google Pay. Interesting nickname, by the way. I mean, it's not as simple as always doubling the time. It's less regular. So this is a time limiter, memory limit exceeded. Let's also grab the ChatGPT. Again, I have too many tabs open. Is that it? Yes. Okay. Write the editorial with bound proof. Oh, by the way, my solution is better. I found a better bound, and I think it can be improved even more. So we'll try to continue with that. Also new, no, create, no. AI, ChatGPT.cpp. Does it compile? Solution files, add. I think that nowadays, what is best for problem creation is just to use AI as a tool, and for human to go together, to work together with AI. But maybe in 1 year or maybe in 2 years. I think not in 1 year. I think that in the past months, the progress of AI, actually, I don't know. Is the progress slower nowadays? I'm not sure. But for stuff like just give me another solution, the AI is, of course, amazing. The fact that independently, other than my solution, now I have some other solution, that's great. You know, Codeforces, if you want to create a Codeforces round, then you need a lot of problems, and that's hard. What you might want to do is to create a single problem and just try to publish it. Say, yeah, I'm sharing with you my problem. For that, you can create it in Polygon. Then if you have high enough rating, you can publish it in the gym in Codeforces. But it's a lot of work, and I don't know if there are some requirements in the gym that you need to have some rating. So yeah, it's not easy what you want to do. AI cannot compile, locally it can. I mean, it can run compilation command. And when I ask Claude to do something locally, then it does a lot of scripts and compilation. Yes, it is possible, I think. Oh yeah, I see. You noted that it can do it locally. For random tests, ChatGPT and Claude are good. Now, what we could continue with is let me ask for it. So Claude now works on the editorial with the proof. Later, I'm going to follow up with try to get the better bound, because not only primes are important. What kind of format is this? Non-divisors editorial. Is this some strange combination of latex and non-latex? Why are there no dollars here? What am I looking at? Is this a text format? I don't see dollars. I also think so. I just, I wonder if it makes sense for me to try to learn what to do for the next months and to work together with AI to try to create simple educational problems. Or should I already assume that in 1 year AI will be so much better than it is right now that I will not be a necessary step in the problem preparation process? So I should just optimize for how to make AI independent, how to create proper prompts for that. Depending on the goal, my behavior now, what I should practice and learn about, is different. No, that was Markdown with LaTeX math rendering. Okay, let's say give me the .text version of this editorial. It's up to you if you want to switch a language. If you're serious about competitive programming, then yes, you should switch to C++. But it's not obligatory. Okay, it fought for 5 minutes. Editorial. This bound, blah, blah, blah. Notes. The bound is 53. Okay, I got 43, right? Let's see this thing. And I'm guessing that this editorial is already very nicely looking. Editorial.pdf. So you see, this is 4 pages of PDF. I will, in order to publish something like that, like an editorial to a problem, I would need to read it, but it would take me so much time to write this. I think 2 hours at least. So what I think is that when I experimented earlier, I think that the statement almost always I want to write myself because I have strong thoughts about it, but editorial to something with a complicated proof, it just takes so much time for a human to do it. Yeah. I think already it is beneficial to cross-compare multiple AIs. So, having premium access to both ChatGPT and Claude helps. Okay, there is this. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read it all now. 2 elementary lemmas. And is the answer -1? Decomposition into blocks, that's not really needed. The key bound. Worked example, summary solution, pitfalls. Okay. Try to decrease the bound even more. In particular, consider LCM of small values. Is that a good hint? I can say more, but I don't want to. Okay, let's say I have that. And how's our ChatGPT? It produced a text file. Oops. Okay, that's the ChatGPT output. I mean, is it still Markdown? Why it doesn't have dollars? I don't think that will work, but Claude can fix, I'm sure, locally. Also, I could install ChatGPT locally, but I think I will not do it. Try to improve the bound. What did I tell Claude? In particular, consider LCM of small values. In particular, consider LCM of small values. In the past few days, I have access to both ChatGPT and Claude Premium, the Pro plans at around $20 per month, and I'm comparing them. I want to understand which is better. Yeah, exactly. The product of those two large neighbors would have to contain the LCM of all the small values. That's what I think. And even something stronger can be claimed, right? Because you cannot combine a divisor from one neighbor with divisor of another. So I think that my bound can be improved. And by the way, those bounds are also important in creating strong tests. If I tell now AI to try to create stronger tests, it needs to try to hit as close to the bounds as possible. We want to, in particular, it's tricky to create a test that maximizes the value that should be used. And again, Claude locally experiments with Python, which is smart. It should do it. But I need to now remember, AI internally prefers to use Python for experimentation and doing stuff. Because the bottleneck there is not really efficiency of runtime. It's something else. ChatGPT says there is a subtlety in the LCM idea. This does not always mean that, because also X divides C. That's in my editorial. I said that there are cases to do. So I'm happy that for AI, it's also non-trivial to write this proof. But still, I think I'm mostly amazed by two things. The fact how long and nicely looking editorials AI can produce fast. And second is that when I ask Claude to do something simple like write a C++ solution, internally it will check so much stuff. I mean, I can forbid it from doing so, but generally I think it's good. I know, but I didn't hear great recommendations of Codex. So I think that what I'm considering to maybe even keep is the Claude for the local code, Claude code, and ChatGPT for the chat interaction. No, I have never used those. And yes, I did. I participated in Math Olympiad even before I participated in Informatics Olympiad. The stream is now what, 2.5 hours, right? Yeah, I wonder how quickly I can prepare this problem to make it publish ready, this DP problem. It seems that without, of course, streaming it, without talking with the chat, without any AI, I think I would need 3 hours to be okay with the state of the problem. I think that's a good estimation. And I can basically for free ask AI to also give me some extra files that I will just add to my preparation. So I can just add the extra intended solution, the extra brute force. That doesn't cost me much time or money. But what can be replaced? I will always want main solution to exist and be made by me because I'm preparing problems for educational purposes and I want to show my code. Do I always need to implement a brute force? Not really. Then validator, generator, and editorial. Tricky stuff. Well, yeah. Being good at math is a huge advantage when you go into competitive programming. So now ChatGPT is thinking, Claude is thinking. I wonder, when you use ChatGPT, the chat version, non-work, does it internally compute stuff with the code? When I see this, yes, it runs Python. It runs Python to get some values. Okay, good to know. I wonder what does it imply now. I mean, for math, you just compute stuff, right? Why do we normally use C++ bits? Because runtime is faster and because of built-in structures like set. But will ChatGPT ever need to run something with a set to verify something? Also, does ChatGPT ever does it ever do like stress testing in the chat? Have you ever seen it write C++ code and compile it? Or does it strongly prefer Python internally as this internal sandbox? Okay, Claude is done. It did manage to do 43. I'm surprised. Let's see. It makes it exactly tight at 43. Both blah blah blah. Now sometimes it talks to me using LaTeX, and that's maybe not great. I can also give feedback, do not do it. I wonder, should I ask Claude to generate such an answer in the PDF format? Then maybe it will be easier for me to read. So it did create two values where indeed value 43 is forced. What about ChatGPT? Is it still thinking? $43. Okay. So the AI is not that smart. I mean, I claim that if I was as fast as AI with coding stuff, then I would achieve this thing in way less than 1 minute. I mean, it's obvious what you can estimate. So this, I'm surprised that it took 7 minutes here. ChatGPT took 8 minutes. So we look at maximal primes. But does it create two values that actually achieve the thing? Yes, X and Y. But I wonder, there is 2 here. 3 times 5, 2. Okay, so it needed to include 2 along the big primes. Because 2 times 17 is 34 and still needs to be excluded. 3 times that is not needed. All right. Why is 37 here? Just because of knapsack reasons, I think. All right. I believe that. Great. Now what? How much time we spent since I started using AIs? 40 minutes. Certainly, it's not optimal to write the prompt and then wait and do nothing, but still, I will write it down. 40 minutes using AI. That's solutions, brute force, proof, bound, editorial maybe, editorial and proof, bound improvement to 43. Also, Claude created many generators. Now it would be nice to get some conclusion. Let me see the chat. Does streaming actually generate substantial revenue? No. But Harbor Space is a sponsor of this stream. They pay me monthly, so I would actually do educational content. Yeah, so, but no, from revenue, when you stream to 100 people, it's hard to live unless you stream a lot and you try to monetize a lot. Luckily, I don't need to do it. I don't need to monetize. Yeah, I'm looking at now the viewership. We have 30 people in YouTube and 50 on Twitch. I think that in terms of ad revenue, if I had ads on, and I don't, that would be nothing, really. Right. Among things that I did, the editorial, that was a lot of time, but you want to have a human there, then still I would need a lot of work with generators. It seems that I would spend half a day preparing this problem without AI. And it seems that it's still half a day to prepare it with AI properly. But I need to remember that for non-Codeforces rounds, for just a gym contest, the problem doesn't need to be performed, doesn't need to be created perfectly. Also, what is, do I have statement? No, AI. Statement PDF. There is no statement.txt. Usage. We are at 17%, by the way. Model. I'm using Opus. Somebody asked about it. I'm not using Fable because it requires extra credits. And tell me suggestions / improvements for the statement. They prefer Python internally. Yeah. I mean, maybe you can choose such bounds instead of 1 billion to make it 67. Yeah. Best problem title. I don't know about that. I teach. I am a teacher. That's my job. Like you're looking now at my job. But I want to be more efficient, in particular when presenting a lecture about a topic. And I have ideas for easy problems that I cannot find online already. I want to be able to quickly create them. And I think my reasonable limit would be that I want to be able to spend 1 hour on a problem like this one, the non-divisors. Because let's be, of course I can spend more time on a single problem, but when I think about, let's say, dynamic programming, I want to do a lecture on dynamic programming. There are some problems online, for example, in CSS, EdCoder, but if I come up with something simple, then it's so much better to provide it as a problem that you can submit than just talk about it. And the question remains is whether I can create something like this problem in 1 hour. I think the answer is no. I cannot prepare this in 1 hour. I have actually two tools that I will test soon, maybe just next time. Let me show you what I'm going to do next. I commented on 2 blogs, hence this is how I can find it. Codeforces is loading. Oh. Opus on high is the most performant. And do I have it on high or not? Okay, there's Polygon problems generator and this. So 2 tools that I will try next. One is Polyman. It's a tool to work in the terminal on your Polygon problem and upload files easily, with some tools also to generate tests locally. But this requires a lot of extra prompts, maybe, to tell Claude what to do. It will speed up the work of Claude if it already has some tools. I just need to tell it what to use. And then there is also this, how is it called? Polygon problems generator. Does it have a name? Isn't it PolyUp? What is PolyUp here? Okay, so it's Polygon problems generator, where it's a tool that is already built around using something like Claude locally, where you tell it what task you want to create, and it will create statement validator, all that Polygon stuff. So this is really great. But I'm afraid that I have so much experience creating problems that I will have a lot of issues what is automatically generated this way. So I'm not sure about that. But yeah, next time we'll test this. In particular for this problem, maybe I can spend 5 minutes on prompting, then wait for 1 hour, just do something else, and then come back and verify. We'll see. But first I think I will test Polyman, then this thing. Those might be on the next stream. I mean, it's about how to prompt it. Did you just write that comment from Twitch and from YouTube, from 2 different accounts? I started when I was around 15. Now I'm 31. All right, I think that's everything for today. What did we learn? Maybe let's try to do some summary of what happened today. I actually, at the beginning of the stream, I came up with a problem that I think is quite nice, and I'm not happy that I created it during the stream because I would prefer to use it in some contest. I think it's a nice problem, but it's a coincidence that something so reasonable got created. Well, what can you do? Suffering from success. What we learned today is that both ChatGPT and Claude got a reasonable DP solution fast, and it's correct. I didn't see any issues with that. Also, they both, and independently and separately, they both got suboptimal bounds / lemma. The solution here involves observation that a number should be replaced with something small, but they did that separately. Then they both use Python internally to test things. As I already knew, Claude does a lot of extra work. For example, creates different generators, even just when not asked. I'm guessing that it does it in Python first. So then there is a question of, should I tell him it? I don't know. How do you? I think this question is mostly about culture and your language. Claude did something. I don't know. Should I tell him to use C++ only or exclusively from the beginning? Or is it good that it works using Python, so it's easier for it to iterate, and then at the end just let it translate to C++? And I already knew that, but Claude produces long and nicely looking editorial PDF. I'm not claiming that it's correct. I'm not claiming that it's a good editorial. I keep saying nicely looking because that's what I see. Yeah, mostly we worked with problem creation, Polygon, also a little bit of AI, though the first half of the stream had no AI. This is what we learned. What we learned today. Also, what we learned today is that I might create a reasonably nice problem by mistake. So maybe I should have came up with the idea of a problem in advance, then judge if maybe it's good enough that I want to keep it private, because now I cannot use it obviously in a Codeforces round or anything similar. It's already public. What else? What's now the usage of 19%? That's 19% of the 5-hour window. So certainly, maybe I will write down. I spent 20% of 5-hour usage window on some work on a problem, which means that, yeah, you can, if Claude will keep working for 1 hour, then I think it should be fine for something as, let's say, basic as creating a Codeforces problem. What else? I wrote down how much time I spent on different things. Let me copy this here. Statement, solution code, samples, this. Also, do we have any feedback about the statement? Here's my review, ordered by how much each matters. Must fix ambiguities. Equal adjacent elements. The definition implies that 5 is bad, but nothing in the statement or example shows it. That's a good suggestion. Whether the inserted values are bound. We need to specify that there is no bound, or specify that it's up to 1 billion, sure. The answer does not fit in 32 bits. I would leave it like this. Why I cannot scroll? Okay, I can. -1 is overloaded as both the input placeholder and the impossible output marker. Good observation. Sample 2 is redundant because it's from the intro paragraph, but I think it's a nice, it's a common thing in Codeforces. Add an all blank sample, extend the node, and then limits. This is very loose. No, it's not very loose. I think that it remembers the runtime from some suboptimal test. Or maybe there can also be different ways to implement the intended solution. And could be far larger. Not necessarily. Okay, then I will write down that the suggestions are very reasonable. AI has good suggestions about my statement. So I wrote the statement and then AI provided good suggestions. I agree that this is difficult. What I haven't experimented with yet is just asking AI to suggest a problem. Actually, let's do it once. Oops, I did something here. One moment. So just come up with a brand new competitive programming problem of similar difficulty. Write tell me a minimalistic statement. Minimalistic statement and 1-2 sentences about the solution. I have no idea what will be done. And certainly what I don't want to happen, by the way, is that in real life we stop getting suggestions from people about problems. I would not want to ask AI to replace me with the most interesting and the most personal / artistic part, the most interesting part of coming up with problems, and me just overseeing the preparation of it. That would be so boring, so, I know, soul-sucking. I think that ChatGPT is biased and wants to create something similar. You're given a sequence. Why did it create the same statement so far? Where each AI is either -1 or integer in some range, replace every -1 by integer at least 2 so that the GCD of neighbors would be 1. Solution idea. In an optimal solution, every inserted value can be assumed prime. Sure. For 2 neighbors, it's such a similar problem. It's like copy my homework, but make sure it's not similar. And they copy your homework and they create almost the same thing. Just please create something complete. This is almost the same as my problem. Come up with something new. Claude is still thinking. Having fun with AI? I mean, more like making fun of what AI just did. Let me, by the way, be honest about one thing. My career and my career, what I do in terms of teaching and all that stuff, is in danger because of AI. So I would prefer the world without AI. Okay, I don't like AI. I would prefer it to disappear. But you can say that about a lot of past technologies, you know, like electricity. I'm sure that people are losing jobs. People always lost jobs because of new technologies. I don't want a similar flavor. Nope. I want a... Okay, actually, let's just read that. I don't want to hear or go through 10 different ideas. Problem: complete products. You're given an integer k and a sequence where each AI is -1 or positive integer, replaced with positive integers, so that for every adjacent pair, k would be a divisor of the product. Meaning that you need to fill up to k, and you will only use divisors of k in your DP. Solution idea: any x can be replaced by GCD, DP over divisors. Yeah, sure. Oh, also, by the way, can my problem be solved without DP? I think it can be solved without DP. Something greedy, maybe. I think that for long enough chain of -1s, everything in the middle will be just 2 and 3. Only the externals will be bigger than that. So for loops without DP might be possible. I know that this doesn't work. Any other ideas? Yes, do that. Oh, it's still thinking. What? And Claude spent already more than 3 minutes. Also, can I see more about what Claude is thinking? No. ChatGPT is slightly better about that, about outputting some simple information about what it is doing. I have tried to get AI to generate good problems for a long time, slight variations of the same kinds of problems. It's frustrating. Maybe I'm happy about that, actually. Yeah, I'm not happy about what it did here, where it just copied my problem. My career is dependent on me using AI. And I would still prefer if AI disappeared. Well, I appreciate the honesty, and I think that many people might be in the same situation. They feed technology at constant rate. Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to use AI. So ChatGPT now is thinking about that better solution without DP. And I think we will finish the stream once Claude comes up with some problem. I will add to my notes what we learned. That AI seems to be bad at coming up with new problems. Also, among different things here that I need to create, I wonder which parts I want to delegate to AI completely. And I usually have very strong preferences about the statement look, so I wouldn't want to delegate that. I want to create at least one code, and samples are for me part of the statement. So it seems that I always would do. I can then accept suggestions. So maybe it's like temporary plan for how I would create simple problems for gym. So how can I easily create Codeforces gym problems, not official rounds? Meaning that it's not that, officially prepared. In particular, I don't know if it's okay to use AI for official problem, because I don't know how big there is a risk that there will be a leak. If you use AI and it's used for, training, then theoretically the task can leak using AI, right? The OpenAI, for example, will have access to your problem and it will be used for training. Okay, so I write statement and samples, and now my intended solution. AI writes, correct, slow, and correct solution, slow, many incorrect solutions. What else is there? Well, I will just say tests. This is so big and vague, and it's not that crucial that I think for those problems I don't want to touch test generation, because it can be arbitrarily long. And it seems that Claude is good enough for it. What else? Then there is a thing about validator, which is crazy important, but I can verify later, right? So I think that will be okay. So, and tests are harder to validate how strong they are. But for gym problems, it's okay if they are not that strong. So I will just say verify. And it would be also nice to verify a brute force, but again, not that important in gym problems. So I think would be okay without validator tests. What else did I do? Stress testing. AI can handle that, I think. I will add it because actually I don't know if using API it can have access to Polygon and how it should stress test locally. So this is important, very, very important. And here prompts are important. For example, I want to run it using multiple cores. I want to teach it that you should use small different values of n. Okay. What else do we have? Files upload. I hope that this will be easy with some tools that I will try next time. Test script, test. So generator and test generators, test scripts. And then there is editorial. Well, for educational problem, it seems that I should be the one writing editorial because that's the main content, right? But today was an example of a problem where actually it would take me a lot of time, and I appreciate how fast and powerful AI is in creating something long and convoluted. The more, maybe the harder the editorial is and the more math it uses, the better AI would do it instead of me. So I think this is the only remaining unknown. Then that's a good prediction. So I don't know about that part. Maybe it should be together. Oh, and then AI certainly should give suggestions to statement. But I think I prefer to write the statement myself, though I'm not sure. By the way, ChatGPT finished thinking, not finished, but wrote something about that speed up. It's a better solution to our DP problem. Only one fixed neighbor, then the bound is smaller. Any two outside neighbors smaller equal this may be connected by two inserted values whose total is at most 25. Conjecture is false. Okay, so it just tries to improve the constant factor. Also, what did... interesting. So Claude not only, again, and I expected that, I knew that this would happen. And I told it to come up with a CP problem, and it not only created it, but it now verifies the solution against a brute force before I hand it over. I think I would prefer for it to first tell me the problem and what it thinks is the solution, and then maybe add this extra verification. It should ask me whether it should verify. I'm sure that I can slowly teach it that this is my preference. No, I don't have knowledge on Linux. I use it, but that's it. Almost done thinking. Can I see usage? No? Yeah. 26% used. And total cost. I mean, do I care about that? I actually have a question. Total cost in usage, is it some extra cost that I pay? Actually, my employer will pay. Oh, okay. Claude outputted something. Chain of divisors. I see that AIs now like divisors. Didn't I say that I want 1 to 2 sentences about the solution? Where is my prompt? Tell me a minimalistic statement and 1 to 2 sentences about the solution. I wouldn't call this minimalistic. And I wouldn't call that 1 to 2 sentences. And then there is honest assessment. Okay. So ChatGPT is good at being minimalistic. But also I'm using chat versus here I use something local. Increasing divisible if the one divides another, like that. You're given every element equal to -1 must be replaced. Make the sequence increasing divisible with the minimum possible total sum. Whoa, such a brand new problem. It's interesting how much the context matters. For both ChatGPT and Claude, we talked about a problem that is about divisibility and replacing -1s and everything else with everything else. I think I specified words brand new. Yeah, come up with a brand new CP problem of similar difficulty. And both are tempted to just modify this problem. Okay, each step at least doubles. Do the elements need to be distinct? Oh yeah, they specify that distinct. Yeah, so for big N it's impossible, and else you can do different things. Honest assessment. Notch easier than non-divisors. Is this already 2000 difficulty? And that one, this is so surprising to me that I wanted to create something easy, and I wanted to follow it up with some graph problem. I wanted to create 2 problems today. And just on the spot, by mistake, I created a hard problem, 2300 rating according to Claude. All right. Also, it took 13 minutes. From that, I will say the following. It seems that right now, AI is not good enough to come up with ideas for difficult problems. Yeah, and that's it. That's my estimation. Yeah. Editorial is the tricky part. But now I think I need to learn to use tools in such a way that I write this and then everything else is done automatically, plus I verify. In particular, there will be suggestions to the statement. Sometimes there might be adjustments to the limits. That was the case here. I decided to decrease n. So that's some work that I will take part in. But if I don't touch test generation, that's a lot of help. And if I just don't do any other solutions, I do one code. Okay, I think that that's a good conclusion. For example, here, if I just wrote statement samples and intended solution, statement samples and an intended solution, that would be less than half an hour. Then AI would work for a long time with proper prompts. I need to invest in spending a lot of time on proper prompts so that then it would follow some general advice. And I told you that there are some tools I want to test next. One of them is, which one is which? This one, which is a tool, already existing tool that uses AI to automate that workflow. And it has, for example, statement agent, validator agent, and so on, each with proper instructions, each with their own prompt of what you should do. I will show you an example of that. For example, let's say generator agent. This is instructions to how to create a generator. You are an expert competitive programming problem setter specializing in writing Polygon test generators using testlib.h. Does that help? Sure. Read this first. I don't know what is there. What is there? Shared. There are critical rules, problem folder layout. So it's instruction about what should be the directories. This is how you can create them. Then there is a pipeline of what validator should produce and so on. Critical rules. Use such directory, use snake case, no free open, use C++17, standard input output, digit separators like that. Actually, I prefer / comma. So I would modify that. No pragma optimize. Those are good things. Statements stay short, avoid long stories, hide the algorithm. Images with apps only, so like with latex, never PNG. Prefer standard checker. Multi-test versus single test. Okay, what else about generator? Use built-in testlib functions not round. Print to output. I think that the rules about the generators should be way bigger. It seems that I need to write down what I think are good rules, just like if I was teaching a student about creating problems. And then I will keep spending time in the next weeks when creating a lot of problems, building on that. And then it will keep getting better and better, it seems. Also, what might be valuable is for me to download my already prepared Polygon problems and give Claude access to it. To say, this is my format, try to mimic the format. Also, I would have more suggestions about that. So I think what I would do is I would grab this tool, make a fork, and just build on top of it. But then I don't know how hard it will be to keep the updates from creators of this tool. we'll see. Also, I want to try the Polygon for just, this is non-AI tool for working on files locally and also stress test all that stuff, and then not interacting that much with the web interface. All right, the stream is more than 3 hours, not the first time that this happens. I wanted to stream for 2 hours and prepare 2 problems. What can you do? I hope that some people here learned something. This wasn't really an educational stream about algorithms. If you're interested in problem creation, I'm sure that you learned something, but also maybe it wasn't nicely compact knowledge. So you also needed to waste a lot of time listening to me talking about other things, but still, I hope you learned. I will finish the stream now. I will go live again this week. Still, I don't have a fixed schedule. Only starting from the second half of September, maybe the end of September, I will keep a fixed schedule where you can actually know in advance when I go live. Yeah, I'm sorry that right now it's so chaotic. I'm figuring out a lot of things. By the way, ChatGPT is still thinking about how to optimize that DP solution from before. If you have some thoughts about my conclusions about problem creation, then you can use YouTube comments. Also, you can write to me on Codeforces. Sometimes I don't understand comments. I don't remember what is the GC. General chat? For tagging more than once. Yeah, I don't know the Discord etiquette and stuff like that. Any resource to learn sliding window aggregation? What is aggregation here? Sliding window aggregation. Yeah, Prism, I don't... I mean, I know what sliding window is. I don't know what sliding window aggregation is. And regarding the resources for that, I would do the same thing that you would do, I think, which is just search for things in Google/ChatGPT. Yeah. I hope that eventually my answer to such questions will be check out this article that I wrote. Oh yeah, that's also open question. Open question is how to use AI to be more efficient in writing algo articles. If I wanted to write a Codeforces article on a sliding window, obviously I'm not going to ask AI for it and copy paste it. I want to, present my knowledge. I want to use the fact that I'm good. It seems right now, by the way, that it's still useful that I have experience and I can do things better than AI, I think. This is an open question that I don't know the answer for. Right now it seems that I should write some stuff and then ask for suggestions. Yeah, so it's the first time I see aggregation here next to sliding window. I mean, I'm content with myself, but still I have the need to be appreciated. I think that humans are social creatures and almost everybody wants to be appreciated. It's not that I'm, I don't know, humble or something like that, where I don't want that. All right, thank you everybody for watching. That was a long stream. See you again, I think this week, where maybe I will continue this thing, where I will try to use those tools, Polygon and the other one with AI problem generation. Yeah, have a good day. And if you are attending my group classes that are for free in Codeforces, then see you tomorrow, because we will tomorrow have a group class. So there are here Olympiad classes by Harbor Space. If you are in high school, then you can register for free. Here's in YouTube the link. Okay. No, I think I will not participate in the AdCoder regular contest. I think I will instead play board games at that time. No, it's actually not rated for me. I'm at 3050 and it goes up to 3000. But yeah, I wish that I had slightly lower rating in Encoder, then it would be rated for me. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, thank you everybody for watching.